Hey, groovy cats and chicks. Well, it's me, Rock Savage. I'm back again with another groovy video, and I'm here at the Savage Library in the Savage Mansion. As you can see, there's quite a lot of great reading material here. I want to share some really crazy stuff from the groovy 1970s. Okay, one of our favorite subjects in the Savage Film Group is space aliens. They've been featured as villains for the most part. We do have one good guy alien recently in our latest short. So this would be a good time to revisit some cool, very groovy UFO magazines from the 1970s. Let's check it out here. Here we got official UFO magazine with lots of cool stuff here. These are great, but I took the most interesting and the most bizarre. That one's got a great cover. The most interesting and the most bizarre ones from here for on this side, where we will be this right here, where of course on this side where we're going to look through some of the really groovy stuff they got in here. This one says kidnapped by aliens. Now they say I'll live forever. Oh my goodness. Yeah, so we're going to do a little show and tell here today. And looking through really bizarre stuff. They actually do book reviews here, the UFO bookshelf. Oh, there's our little kitten, Carmilla. She's just curious. This is pretty cool. Beings from another dimension gave me eternal life. And there we go. There's a car being swept up there. Look at that. In the mountains. And this one is pretty interesting because, as you know, this is in my home state of West Virginia now. This story's taking place with this lady's kidnapped by aliens. They do a scan on her and tell her she's gonna live forever. I like the really weird artwork on this. This is really cool. That looks like Moses there, and the UFO parting the White Sea. Okay, very funny. But skip ahead to the most bizarre articles. Now that one they're doing good, but here we got aliens are obviously doing evil. Caution, UFO contact can be fatal. Oh my goodness, there's some weird experiment going on, and there's somebody else, some poor victim there unconscious. And that's a weird looking robot there. Okay, here we have cattle mutilations and baby UFOs. That's so weird. That's so bizarre. And of course, I'm sure many of you are familiar with that famous picture. There's a very interesting and bizarre story here. Oh, the artwork is really bizarre right there. Do brain damaged robots rule the earth? Well, that would explain a lot, wouldn't it? Look at that. Anyway, they're talking about Richard Shaver. That's him right there. Richard Shaver, in case you didn't know, he wrote what they called the Shaver Papers for a magazine called, I believe it was it Amazing Stories, or one of the old pulp magazines. And I never read this article, but I have another article about him and about Ray Palmer, who was the publisher. You could buy badges, pretend you're a cop, commit a felony, stuff like that. Right there, I remember those. Badges. I never ordered one. But anyway, Richard Shaver wrote these let's get back to that page right there. Brain damaged robots ruling the earth. Yeah, he actually really was a nut job. I think he was in and out of the nut house, and he wrote this to one of the pulp science fiction magazines. Ray Palmer was the editor, and he saw the stuff and had to edit it to make it coherent and turn it into a whole series of stories that were pretty successful. And Ray Palmer was he was a short guy. His name became the secret identity of the atom, of the Silver Age atom. So a little bit of trivia there, connected to pop culture. Here's a famous story. I'm sure you've heard of it. It's a fabulous fraud. The fairies of, I'm not sure how to pronounce that. Contaley, whatever. It's some British little town in England, in the countryside. And it says winged UFO knots. As you remember, these two girls in 1917 photographed fairies. You can barely see the picture there on that side. That's one of them. That's Frances. I think she was 13 and her little sister was 10. They faked these photographs, which is an absolutely amazing fraud. There we go. There we got right there. And the adults thought they were really fairies, because the pictures were examined, the negatives, which were back then I believe on glass, and Kodak said nope, nobody tampered with these pictures. Arthur Conan Doyle, the guy who created Sherlock Holmes, also examined the photos, looked at the negatives, and it confirmed, yeah, no, nobody's tampered with these. These pictures are authentic. Well, the girls certainly wouldn't have been able to tamper with the negatives, so they didn't have that knowledge, even though they were pretty smart. But these are cutouts that they positioned in such a way that it really looks like they're interacting with the girls. So everybody was looking for a high-tech fraud, and it was a low-tech fraud. And it wasn't until one of the girls was like in her 90s where she confessed to it. But apparently this, I guess it was before this it was after this magazine was published, because they're convinced that the pictures are real, but that they're not fairies. They say believing in fairies is ridiculous. However, believing that they are winged UFO knots is perfectly sane. So you may ask yourself, do I believe in UFOs? Well, of course I do, but I have to question some way out theories they have there sometimes. Now here's an interesting one. Again, this is from the mid-70s. Are bone-freezing winters coming from outer space? Well, we just had a bone-freezing winter. Not sure if it's from space or just regular winter weather, which is why I don't believe in climate change, because summers are supposed to be hot and winters are cold, and boy was this winter cold. Okay, this issue has Close Encounter with a Starship. That's just amazing, because this is a movie review of Starship Invasions. Now, if you can tell me where I can find this movie, because I keep doing searches on the internet and I can't find it to save my life. I've seen this in the movie theaters in 1978. That's Christopher Lee right there playing an alien. And he's an evil alien, and they also got the good aliens. Believe it or not, this guy here is the good alien. And the good aliens recruit Robert Vaughn, as the man from U.N.C.L.E., as a... unfortunately, they got a terrible picture of Robert Vaughn from his back. And, yeah, here's some action in there. They have a great UFO battle in the city where one of them crashes into a skyscraper. This movie, which is a great film, let's go back to the page with the title. This movie, with Christopher Lee and Robert Vaughn, two excellent actors. As far as I know, it may have been on VHS, but I've never seen it on DVD, and I'm still trying to track it. Anybody got any information on where I can find it? Let me know, because there's old Chris there, being his old villainous self. So really, I'd like to see this movie again. I haven't seen it since 1978. And here we're talking about cloning. As you know, cloning actually has been made illegal. That won't stop some crazy scientist. This guy talked about the fears of cloning. The matter, it says, Arthur Klein's Age of Human Facsimiles have arrived. Some observers fear specter of hundreds of little Hitlers on the loose. Here we go. Did ancient astronauts land on Earth? You've heard this old debate. This one here has the perspective of two prominent researchers, Dr. Clifford Winston, right there, and Eric von Daniken, who did a lot of research and wrote Chariots of the Gods. So here's something a bit lighthearted. Little People from the Planet Omni. And it's a car show, and they had some midgets dress up like aliens. And to make it even more bizarre, they met Andy Warhol. So how about that? There's Andy and the little alien. Wow, UFO ancient astronauts. Okay. Is your family alien infiltrated? Worse than Jaws, space aliens devouring swimmers. Space alien movie producers behind sci-fi trend. Okay. Okay, how to tell if a loved one is a space alien. This reminds me of an old 50s movie called I Married a Monster from Outer Space. And this is just absolutely, this article is out of control here. I'm just wondering if that picture's from the movie. Yeah, but they don't mention the movie here, so yeah. Okay, here we go. Here are the clues. If you married a monster from outer space or an alien. No hair. So it's completely bald everywhere? Okay. Maintains constant weight and good health. That's not a good clue. Could be just someone that takes care of themselves. Possible indentation. I don't know what the hell that means. No earlobes. Okay, I don't know. Lack of skin blemishes. Okay, that just means that they have a good complexion. Good Lord, those are terrible clues. Wild West town destroyed by mummification. Now it can be told. The most bizarre occurrence of history in the American West. A decayed mummy of an alien clad in the clothes of 1880s gunfighter is found. Okay, wow. Okay, wow. That would have been one hell of a spaghetti western with Clint Eastwood. I would have paid to see that movie. And kind of think of these pictures look like they're from spaghetti westerns. What's that say there? These photos found among the diary. Oh, come on now. Bullshit. That looks like from a spaghetti western. It really does. Well, anyway, it doesn't matter. I'm sure the article's a lot of fun. I can't wait to read that. Terrifying attacks of the UFO vampires. You know what? A lot of this stuff would make a great movie. Mysterious special effects expert is really an alien. And here we have these. These illustrations are pretty cool. Yeah. Close Encounters of the Fourth Kind. Space aliens clone my double. There we go, talking about clones again. Evil alien camp counselors are brainwashing our kitties. Not kittens. Kitties. Yeah, no one's going to brainwash her. I'll tell you, that kitten has a mind of her own. Yeah, let's see. Go look through this. Oh yeah, I wanted to stop by here for a minute. The Magic Power Witchcraft was done by these authors called the Frosties, who were very controversial in the witchcraft community back in the 70s because, well, I actually have this book in my collection. I found it at a used bookstore. Let's just say these two people are not very ethical. I think they were looking for excuses to have a coven so they could have lots of sex. Which, considering that the babe doesn't look too bad, I wouldn't mind knowing her. Back then, I'm married now. We can't do that. Anyway, those no-answer phone calls may be aliens contacting you. Wow, they had that problem back in the 70s also. I'm sure. Look at that. I love the illustrations. Yes. I never saw anybody that terrified when they got the no-answer calls. Yes. Anyway, well, we're still getting those. I wonder. They say it's robocalls. Are they? Or could they be aliens? One, beware of your psychiatrist. He might be a visitor from outer space. Well, yeah, that's actually good advice. I never trusted those damn shrinks. And oh my goodness, look at that picture. There's a shrink right there. Looks like a horrifying alien. Oh my goodness, look at that. At a CB in the 70s, you may have had some interference caused by an alien UFO. Damn those aliens. How dare they interfere with my bootlegging? There they are, interfering, yeah. Trying to contact Burt Reynolds and Jerry Reeds, and there's the aliens messing up everything. At last, the truth about UFOs, says Alien in an exclusive interview. We are you. Yes, I noticed, yeah, this alien looks humanoid. Doesn't look like the Greys. But I noticed that those seem to be the two types of aliens people mostly see. Or three types if you count the green ones. Because they still occasionally we see little green men. Or people see, alien camp instructors practice mind control on children. Let's see, there's supposed to be another really cool art picture. There it is. There's the evil camp counselor trying to brainwash the kids. Oh my goodness. See, this is why you shouldn't send your kids to camp. You really shouldn't. You don't know who's taking care of your kids there. No. The last one of Close Encounters of the Fourth Kind. That's a good cover, too. A lot of the covers were good. But let's see what we got here. This is from April of 1978. And here we go into the kinky and the lurid. Proof positive, girl violated by space creature. Ew. Oh, that's pretty nasty. Yeah, that's a nasty looking space creature. That's supposed to be the psychiatrist. And that's the girl's dad who looks like he's getting ready to start drinking. He says, and according to her, he didn't believe her. Thought she was doing drugs. Well, I mean, if you tell your dad you've been kidnapped by aliens. Okay, there we go. Yeah, there's some more cool alien artwork. Aliens threatened me by telephone. I do believe that is a federal offense. But, you know, aliens don't care. You know. I mean, we got aliens all over the place. We got aliens from outer space, aliens from across the border. We got all sorts of aliens. Anyway, abduction in Argentina. There he is fighting them off. Tough macho guy. That was cool that somebody was actually fighting them back. This is strange. Rachel Baker and her little friends. And nope. There's the alien again, levitating, kidnapping people. I tell you, these aliens are just always involved in some sort of criminal activity. Well, there we go, the last page, and once again the ad from the Frosties, you know, so, or Frost, really, that's their name. Their last name's Frost, but they were called the Frosties, and their group were the Frosties. And anyway, I wouldn't be surprised if they were abducted by aliens later on. Anyway, so this pretty much is it. I just think I showed you the best ones. My opinion is that some of the articles are sincere and written by people who did some really excellent research. Unfortunately, I think also some of them are just written for filler, and ironically, let me tell you, those were probably the most entertaining ones, or the ones that just were total bullshit, you know. Anyway, like I said, I recommend these if you can find them out in the wild. Don't pay too much for them. It's really a good read and very entertaining. And more entertaining than stuff you see in movies or television in the 21st century, I can tell you that. If you can't find any of these, let me make a recommendation right now. If you saw my video when I went to PulpCon, this is still available, and it has the best of the UFO magazines. And the most credible articles are in here. And yeah, Invasion UFO. And this is from Men's Adventurely Currently. And I do recommend this. And just look up their name on the web. You'll see their website, and you can order this one or one of the other ones. They also have other subjects: private eyes, westerns, jungle girls, and spies. So, you know, this one is UFOs. So I recommend that if you can't find any of the classic magazines. And I'll tell you, it is worth it, because in this issue, all the articles they have, I do not have in any of the pile of UFO magazines. So there you go. Anyway, groovy cats and chicks, that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed this nostalgia look at old UFO magazines from the groovy 70s.